Quick disclaimer, I am sick as a dog. Sick as a dog. But the grind don't stop. Enjoy the rest of the video. So, you want to buy your first house. But let me guess, you don't know where to start, right? I know. And so is the case with most first-time home buyers. And which is why, they maintain just renting because it's a lot simpler. And there is a reason why I did the air quotation marks. And it's because it's not as hard as people make it out to seem. It's actually very simple, especially when you have a dark chocolate 6'4", bench 660-pound realtor, at your fingertips, at your disposal really, and you live in the Salt Lake Valley area. Who could that be, you may ask? And the answer is this guy. Okay. In all seriousness, there's a lot that goes into buying a house, but it's not as hard as people make it out to seem. First step, preparation. Is your credit up to par, which is it at least above a 580 if you want to do a FHA loan? Or is it above a 620 if you want to do a conventional loan? Or if it's above a 700 if you want to do a jumbo loan? Job history. My glass is seeping up a bit. I guess that's how hot I am or something like that. I don't know. It's got to be that reason, right? You don't got to answer that. You know what I'm saying? You don't even got to answer that for real. Unless. Okay, but back to preparation. Job history. Do I have at least 2 years on a job and also 2 years of taxes being reported? Budget. How much would I like to spend a month? And then also finding a loan officer. If you're going the lending route. Do I want to set up a loan with my parents? Do I want to use a loan officer? Do I want to use my bank? And then also finding a realtor. But like I said, if you're in the Salt Lake Valley area, you have a dark chocolate 6'4" handsome realtor at your disposal. Next, approval. You'd want to contact the loan officer or whoever it is that you're getting the loan for the home through. You'd want to submit all your documents, get your credit ran, all the fun stuff, mumbo jumbo, and they would give you what's called a pre-approval amount. With that pre-approval amount, you're good to start shopping. Basically, your realtor would take you and tour houses with you, and those houses are typically at your pre-approval amount or below, which I recommend you stay below, because if your pre-approval is at $450,000, you fall in love with a home that's $500,000, you're gonna have to cover that difference, and it's not even worth the hassle and the heartache seeing a home that you love but that you just can't afford. Next is putting in an offer. Let's say you see a home $440,000, so it's below your pre-approval of the $450. So you want to go ahead and offer the $440. Boom shakalaka. You put in the offer. The seller is like, "Hey, I'll accept the offer." And then typically from the time that you put in the offer and it gets accepted, closing is on average about 28 to 30 days after. So if you have a lease anywhere, you want to be as transparent as possible, just so they're aware and they can also start making preparations for your departure. And also, if you have a lease, you want to be in the good graces with your landlord, so that way if it's before your lease ends, they can just go ahead and let you go without charging any penalties or fees. But like I was saying, in those 28 to 30 days that you have from acceptance to closing, there's typically 4 stages of the transaction before it closes. The first stage is seller property disclosure. They have to let you know everything that they've noticed that was wrong with the house while they've owned it, and if they withhold anything, they're held liable legally. And that first stage is about 7 days after acceptance. The second stage is about 14 days after acceptance, which is buyer due diligence. So within that 14 days, on average, you get to inspect the property. You have a home inspector come and see what's going on from top to bottom, literally from the foundation of the home to the tippity top of the roof. I'm not even joking. Like, they literally get down and dirty in these inspections. But that's what you pay them for, and they're great to have. You're not required to do it, but if you don't, you can be opening up a can of worms that you don't really want to open. And then that third stage, which is about 21 days after acceptance, is financing and appraisal. So how transactions used to be done is people would find a home that they like and then try to get approved for that amount. But since you're prepared, you don't have to do that because you already got a pre-approval because Papa Raya told you to. That's just what I do. Anyways, and then appraisal. 9 times out of 10, you'd probably want to know how much the home is worth before you end up agreeing to pay that. So the home you're under contract for is $440, but it turns out the appraiser comes and checks it out and it's only worth $420. So let's say that same home that we're under contract for the $440 comes back at $420. At that point, you'd either have to go back to the drawing table to say, hey, come down to 20, or we're gonna have to go ahead and just cancel the whole operation. Or let's say that same house that you are under contract for the $440 comes back at $460 in value. At that point, you're walking into $20,000 equity as soon as you close, which is awesome. And that appraisal typically is ordered by that lender. And then fourth stage, like I said, which is about 28 to 30 days after acceptance, is the closure date. So that's the day that you go to what's called a title company and spend about like an hour and a half of going over documents about the home being transferred over to you, about the loan payments, and then when it's all said and done, you walk away with your keys happy and smiling because you trusted a 6'4" dark chocolate realtor named UriahSellsUtah. Like I said, if you live in the Salt Lake Valley. I'm sorry. It's gonna take a while for me to drop that joke. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. Actually, no, I'm not sorry, because if I don't promote me, who will? Know what I'm saying? And if you don't promote you, who will? But that really sums up what it takes to buy a home. If you're looking into buying a home, or if you know someone that is, send them this video. I think it could be very beneficial for them to look at this video and to see that it's really not that hard as people make it out to be. It can actually be a simple process if you make it simple. If you go into it without being prepared, then of course it's going to be a lot harder because you have to like gather and do all these things and everything's just so unorganized. But if you go into it being prepared, then it's literally smooth as butter on toast. Smooth as meat. You know what I'm saying? Word. No, but like I said, if you're looking into buying, or if you know somebody that is, send them this video. If this was helpful or funny in any way, drop a like, comment, maybe subscribe. I beg you to show some love as it pushed me into YouTube's algorithm. And if you watch my first video or my last video, you'd understand why I'm wanting to grow this channel as big as it can be. Thank you for watching. God bless you, and I hope you have a great rest of your day. I'm gonna stop talking now. Peace.